We just got done doing about a 40-hour campaign of ISS Vanguard, and we have a few things we wish we knew before we started playing.
Yes.
This is a bit of a new concept here at Quackalope.
Yeah, we wish we knew.
Conversation about stuff. I see this oftentimes in the video game industry.
Yeah.
If you like this idea or format for video, please let us know in the comment section down below. We'd be happy to continue bringing these back for other games in the future.
For sure.
We both just wrote down 5 things we wish we knew.
Yeah. 5 things that we wish we knew before we started so we could have focused on them, because now that we're finished with our campaign, we kind of wish we could go back and start it over again with all of the information that we know now, because we would have made some very different decisions.
I very much wish I had had a bit of this knowledge before actually playing, and I think for those of you that are getting Wave 2 shipping, or for those of you that have not got this to the table yet, a video like this will help you not spoil anything, but will help you frame up and understand maybe the puzzle that you're trying to solve.
For sure.
Because there are things in this game that punish you for the sake of discovery.
Yeah.
And for me,
that's fair.
I kind of wish I had a bit more control than I feel like I did in our exploration.
That's very true.
So let's go through the 5 things we wish we knew. Wes, what's your number 1?
So my number 1, I think, is probably the most important one to me, and the thing that I wish I knew the most about, and that is morale/situations. Because morale is one of the major things that happens on the ship. You only have a certain amount of morale. You start off at decent morale, and then it kind of, just in our opinion, ends up going downhill from here. We ended, and we spent the majority of our turns on the low morale, which makes you draw another situation card. Now, most of the time, situation cards affect something that happens on the ship. Oftentimes it affects morale, and it is so hard to increase your morale. Because, I mean, think about it. Thematically, you're on a ship, you're in the middle of nowhere, you're not able to talk to your family anymore, and, you know, you're at the point where you're so far away, you're never going to be able to get any information from them. So your morale is going down, and that sucks. And it's really hard to raise that back up again. So thematically it works, but if you don't take care of that from the very beginning of the game, it will sink you quickly.
Don't allow a few situations to just drop your morale down. It'll be hard to pull it back up. And on top of that, don't just ignore situations as they arise, because a lot of them will have consequences that extend far beyond just that immediate single session. And they all continue cycling back into the same deck, and they all continue potentially coming back out again.
Yes.
My number 1 has to do with bridge upgrades.
Ooh, okay.
Another part of the shipbook phase. I didn't realize, or we didn't realize from the get-go, 2 things. One, that when you take a bridge action, going to a production facility, going to a location for technology, you get to resolve one of those things for free without assigning extra people to it. This was a rules clarification that our audience actually helped us discover. That gave us a little bit more action economy. But even on top of that, we didn't initially realize just how valuable saving some of our resources to do technology and go down technology chains was going to be late game. There's points in this game where you're actually blocked off from some points of exploration because you need certain technology that's already there in your lander or gets cycled into your lander as the game continues. Take the time to read through those cards, take a look at what you might be getting, and if you see something that indicates you're going to get a bridge upgrade of some form, it is likely worth it to pursue those things.
For sure.
Those are stable, unchanging, and beneficial. They're the opposite of situations.
Very true. Yep,
so,
exactly.
Very, very useful. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is rank up. So whenever you're going onto the land area, you'll have an opportunity to rank up your people. In other words, they'll get so much experience that they'll be the next level when they come back, which is an excellent thing. They get to have more cards. You have more agency with those different cards to be able to manipulate the dice around a little bit. And that's really, really important. If you can get them up to level 3, then you can actually start adjusting things during the ship phase as well, which is vitally important.
It's really important.
There are also other things that will happen later, and having higher level people available to you to use is massively important in that particular situation. So the key for us was do the land until you get the rank up. You really, if at all possible, try and figure it out, because ranking up those people is massively important.
And if you do have someone that's already ranked up, try to be careful with them, try to protect them a little bit, use them in ship mods, or take them out on safe adventures. You do want to push to level 3, but you want to get a base of a couple level 2s there before you probably make that final jump. You won't be using the dice slots or the cards at those higher levels initially, so first start by getting a series of them to level 2.
Exactly.
And then make a push up to level 3. You might lose some in the process. Completely agree with that. And we really under-focused on it. Also, if you hear a vicious dog in the background,
vicious 10
she's
pounds.
been learning how to bark recently, and it's very unfortunate. We may have to put her down. It's very unfortunate.
Or you could do some dog training from your good friend who was a 20-year veteran of dog training.
That sounds difficult.
Could be.
She's very cute. We love her quite a bit. My number 3. Is it my number 3? No, my number 2. My number 2.
Yeah.
Don't rush. Don't rush. If you get to a planet, if you get to a location, if you're going through the ship book, take the time to read the cards, read the abilities, read the location. Don't try to just push through this game quickly. It might be a game that caters itself to 2 players or even a solo player experience. I don't know at higher player counts that the time that is necessary to really experience the game is there as efficiently for everyone at the table.
Sure.
But it really, really does value and incentivize people who are sitting down and they're focused on what's happening. And you will get more out of things like the story events and the logs that are happening and the resources you can gain if you take the time to check everything on the board. One of the things that we did probably wasn't the best, and part of a consequence of how we play and also filming. Is that we'd pop into a location and we'd start doing the thing that was here.
Right.
And then we'd move to another location, we'd start doing the thing that was there. But if we'd read and paid attention, we might have noticed that, like, hey, something's going to escalate, or this thing needs to resolve, or that seems like where we can actually get the unique discovery. And instead of rushing to do everything at the one spot we're at, because you can't do everything every time.
Nope.
We would have been more precise, and we could have actually selected how we wanted to experience that planet, and then we could have came back and done it again. I know one situation specifically. I went head-to-head against a creature, was going to die anyway because you were evacuating.
Definitely, yep.
And so, like, I sacrificed a person in order to take down a big beast, and that was cool, and it was worthwhile, but I think if I had not been so ambitious, if I had not rushed into that, we could have actually approached it with more of a strategic team and got more things from that planet and more things from that location than we did.
Agreed, yep.
So, do not rush. Take your time.
Number 3 for me is discoveries.
Okay.
So kind of that go through everything, pick up as much of the information here as you possibly can. You're going to be drawing leads from the bag. When you get 3 leads on top of a particular item, you'll gain that discovery. Those discoveries are vitally important for technology and things that you're going to use in upgrading all of your pieces and building new ships and all those kinds of things. You have to have as many of those discoveries as you possibly can. Get as many as you can find. Sometimes you can have 7 or 8 that you can find in one different land or area, which is fine. And your ship might only hold 5, but some of those discoveries actually have abilities that you can use on them.
They do.
And you could use that ability there before you even leave, and you're still not, getting rid of that area. You don't get to bring it
home, but it might actually help you survive or process through an area better. Very important.
Big time helpful.
A similar thing to that, in terms of the abilities that you can use while you play the game, I really underutilized and underpaid attention to the card economy we have here. Pay attention to the cards you're taking out on each mission, build your deck custom when you leave, and understand what cards you might draw and what those cards can do for you. There's different things in this game that allow you to actually dig through your deck, and if you know what's in that deck and you know what you're hunting for and the odds of getting it, you'll be more precise in terms of using and finding those card abilities. They can seem like an additional module, but when it comes to dice control and dice manipulation, especially late game, as you start using leveled up characters, this is something you want to pay attention to from the very get-go.
Absolutely. There's many cards in there that actually allow you to cycle through your deck faster by drawing other cards. Don't be afraid to draw more cards, because if you don't have what you need right now, it's probably 2 or 3 cards away.
Absolutely.
In that same vein, my number 4 is actually gear. The gear that you get is amazing, and there are lots of different things that it is game-changing with some of the different types of gear that you'll receive, with different types of suits that allow you to do different things, manipulate different situations, get rid of injury die, which are vitally important to do. Also things like the zip line that allow you to move from one location to the next without having to pay any of the penalties for doing so. There's tons of different things that you can do, and I feel like we were terrible at utilizing the majority of that gear.
Every location really does give you a decent bit of context as to what you might be experiencing there. It's not perfect information, but customize your gear, customize your card builds, customize the characters that are going out to what that location might be desiring. Your success will be significantly greater. It all kind of doubles back to that idea of not rushing into situations. Take the time to build your away team. Early game, it'll be easy to accomplish your missions.
For sure.
Mid to late game, it'll actually be extremely difficult if you haven't built these habits in the first place. It's one of those things where, like, with a campaign game, I sometimes just go. And ISS Vanguard kind of demands that you don't do that.
Yeah, you shouldn't just go.
Okay. Which I actually like. I like that it has consequences.
Boy, did it
Dice
have consequences.
and abilities. Every single one of your modules can upgrade, and every single one of your characters have special, unique abilities. We kind of haphazardly used them to accomplish tasks and then took out whoever was left on a mission. But the game sets you up so you can understand what the challenge of the location you're going to might be before actually setting off. Customize your dice pool according to that. Customize the character you're taking and the abilities you're going to have with them and what they convert dice into with a special little icon up there in the top corner based off of what the game tells you your planetary challenge might be.
Very true.
And then pay attention to it when you're actually out there on the planet. Sometimes these little cycle abilities, these disciplines that you know, or specifically that dice convert ability can be game-changing.
Yeah.
And you might just overlook it.
Absolutely. That is a great idea.
You might find that you have 2 or 3 characters with really cool powers, and you just kind of baby them and protect them and level them up. That's fine. If you love their abilities, you love their abilities. You know how to use them and you pay attention to them. Build a relationship with the characters you have. Absolutely.
Yep.
But don't ignore, like when you're drafting or drawing cards, don't ignore what characters might be catered to certain sections, not just off of how cool they look or the flavor text on the back of the card, but also based off of, like, if I've got 7 green dice for this section, and I can hold more than anyone else, a character that converts green cycle rolls to tech, information might be more valuable to me.
Yeah.
They just might.
Definitely true.
All right.
It's definitely true. So my last one here is all about technology. One of the things that we needed to focus more on was getting those discoveries so that we could use the technology part in the ship book. We ignored technology way too long. We ignored production way too long. So I highly recommend that you use your tokens for when you have the opportunity to actually go through and get those technology upgrades, get those production upgrades. Those are vitally important to your successful missions.
My final one, don't overcommit. This game has areas that are considered pressure luck.
Yeah.
Rolling dice, having your dice pool that you're rolling to take actions, risking danger dice from situations to not have other things happen, or doubling down on going to a planet multiple times or going to fight a creature multiple times. If the game tells you you can't do something, specifically,
believe it.
Purposefully, if it says, hey, this is bad, believe it.
Believe it.
Don't overcommit. ISS Vanguard is a game that does not apologize for killing your characters, for being hard, for having horrible situations pop up, for having consequences of your action continue cycling back into the game economy and the game system. And that makes it so that you will suffer the repercussions for what you've done. If you're looking at something and you're saying, hey, I know I just got infected by a parasite, but why not just come back to the ship? It creates a great storyline.
Oh, it's awesome.
But it carries with it consequences that everyone else has to live with.
It's a massive consequence.
Those stories will happen anyway. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
Don't overcommit. Don't do it. Don't double down. Don't pressure luck. You'll do that enough as it is.
Yep, that's very, very true.
There you have. It's 10 things that we wish we knew before we started playing, and 10 things we'd be keeping in mind when or if we play this game again, on or off camera. I would love to journey back through this. But I want to do it with all of this experience as the footstool for where I was going.
Absolutely. Like this, if a video like this had existed before we started, I feel like we would have been way better at this game.
Why doesn't anyone do this?
I don't know.
Like, where are the people? You know? Why can't I watch other content creators doing the videos that I'm doing?
Right.
And then I could just... But then I wouldn't...
Then you wouldn't be able to
do my videos. The other people would be doing them.
I would not be here anymore, and that would be not so
it'd be
great.
very... And I like playing on camera action, and our community's amazing.
Our community's the best.
You know something that I don't tell our community often enough?
You're welcome?
I just don't let them know as often as I should.
Yeah.
Let's say it together.
All right.
You're welcome. We'll see you next time.
Bye.